You're welcome back. A meeting at the behest of authorities at the VRA following a demonstration by some residents over high cost of electricity yielded little by way of results. Residents of Manguase, Tosca and Akosombo, all in the eastern region, hit the streets this morning in protest of some new meters installed for them. Now they're demanding a return to the old metering system or a drastic reduction. Jonathan Ayamdu is leader of the demonstrators and assembly member at the Pumpuni electoral area. He joins us live on the phone. Mr. Ayamdu, good afternoon.
Hello.
Now you met with officials of the VRA today. Tell us what happened at this meeting.
Thank you, my brother, and thank you to all cherished listeners or viewers of Joy News. Demonstrators were embarked on this morning, and then we met with the VRA leaders and the promises. Then they told us that, okay, we should give them 1 week. Then they will address our problems. The problems we put before them was that we told them that the old meters we were using, the old new meter we were using, that one, the bill was moderate. But compared to the current one that we are using, it's too much. So we can't pay the bills. So we told them either they should bring us back the old meters or they should give us flat rate for us to pay. That's why.
Tell us how exactly the bills changed from the old meters to the new. What is the difference in the amounts that you're being charged?
Thank you very much, my dear. The problem is that the new meter that is installed in our various homes now, one person will be using only one fan in his room, a television and a fridge. And then at the end of the month, they will charge the person 800 Ghana cedis or 1,000 Ghana, which is outrageous. We cannot pay. That's why we challenge them.
So in the meeting, did the VRA admit that there was anything particularly wrong with the meters that they have given you, the new meters?
Very good, my brother. Actually, VRA, we met them several times. And then they even invited PRC to come and meet us. When they came, they promised coming back to see us or check the meters for us. Since then, we haven't heard of them. That's why we embarked on the demonstration.
So have they given you a timeline to resolve this matter? When are you going to hear from them next?
Yeah, according to the chief executive rep who came to meet us today, she gave us only 1 week that they will get back to us. So we are only waiting for the week. When the 1 week period expires before we know the next action that we'll take.
So how did this increase in your tariffs affect how you used electricity? Did it cause some of the members of your community to use electricity less?
Come again, my brother.
Did this change in meters and the attendant increase in price of electricity, did that make you use fewer appliances around the house to conserve electricity?
Yes. Actually, we also indicated some of our people. At least you have some gadgets in your room. That one is genuine. That one, you can't say they cheat you. But we look at those who are using only at least fan, one TV, and then one refrigerator or fridge, and then they will charge you 800 or 1,000 Ghana. That is why we are looking at it, my brother.
Mr. Ayamdu, thank you very much for speaking to us this afternoon. Now, Kwame Yanka, our correspondent, covered this story, and of course he joins us now on the line. Kwame, good afternoon. Is there any new development after the meeting with the VRA?
Yes, now Cam has restored to Akosombo. The residents have gone back to their various homes. They believe the 1 week assurance given by VRA is enough to calm their hearts, but they are sticking to their week. If the VRA is unable to fulfill this promise of coming back to them, giving them a very good response, then, the kind of demonstration they embarked on, which is very peaceful today, whatever they're going to put out there will be something different, far different from what you saw today, which was very peaceful.
Right. So at this point, the demonstrators are happy with the arrangement to have something else put in for them. But are they expecting still to have the old meters?
Okay, so they gave VRA a number of options. Now, it was either to review their tariff, to abolish their billing system, or probably return road bills where if you are using just mobile phone, you are going to pay according to how much you consume. But with the current bill, Mr. Aki says, you could be using a mobile phone, probably a phone, and then a television set, and then at the end of the month, you're going to pay more than 1,000 cedis. If these residents are quite outrageous, and there could be something wrong with them, and yet very quote unquote, would you want to admit that there's a problem? There are instances where some of these residents go to the Action Card Department, that's very recent, to argue about how much they've been asked to pay. And then, I mean, the next bill has this deduction made, indicating that, well, there's something wrong with the amount put out there. So how come that they asked to pay this amount? And when the things are paid, it then, reduced. So they suspect there's something fishy, VRA is unable to tell them.
Now, Kwame, I'm aware that the VRA is yet to tell us their side of the story. There appears to be some reluctance to do so. But tell me, by admitting that they are going to do something else about these meters, does this not suggest that the VRA is admitting that there is a problem with these new meters? Bearing in mind they were supposed to be calibrated by the Standards Authority.
Okay, sorry, I need to kindly come again.
Certainly. I'm asking about the fact that the VRA is conceding that they will do something about these meters. Does this indicate that they are admitting that there is something wrong with these new meters, which we expect should have been calibrated by the Ghana Standards Authority? The last bit I'm trying to discuss. Okay, these meters should have been calibrated by the Ghana Standards Authority. Okay. So is this VRA admitting that there's actually something wrong with the meters, the new ones?
Well, I'm told that Madam Getty-Kumsen will be the best person to answer all this in the sense that they are going to channel their responses through her then to the media, because to them, they are acting as VRA, which is in charge of electricity-related issues here. But if the residents have issues and their outlet is somehow dealing with the squeeze, they are somehow admitting that there are concerns, there are genuine concerns being raised by the residents leading to this demonstration today.
Kwame, thank you.
All right.
And that was Kwame Yanka, our Tema correspondent, who covered the story of protest in Akosombo as residents kick against new meters that seem to have hiked the cost of their consumed electricity. Now, commuters who use the Tema motorway will have to endure the traffic situation on the stretch for some time as contractors work around the clock to finish an interchange at the Tema end of the motorway. Now, this morning, the road was literally gridlocked, with some drivers using unapproved routes. Joy News' Maxwell Agbagba was there and made these observations.
Easily make your way to your destination. But if you're heading westwards towards the central business district or to Accra or to Akosombo, that is where we have the real challenge of a bumper to bumper traffic here right now, as the Tamamo roundabout has, currently gained notoriety for a lot of the passengers sitting in trotros in their private vehicles. A lot of them, after standing here for about 30 minutes, I watched them. A lot of them look distressed, some of them frustrated about the situation here at the Tamamo roundabout. There was one gentleman that I had interactions with earlier in an off-record conversation. He tells me that he works in East Legon and sometimes he has to leave home as early as 7 o'clock a.m. But he ends up getting to his workplace sometimes around 10 o'clock a.m. A stretch that is like about 100 meters, sometimes 200 meters. He ends up spending about 2 good hours, sometimes 1 hour in traffic. Some people who are selling here on the shoulders of the road tell us that today what we are seeing is actually a mild version of the situation here on the Tamamo roundabout. What is, complicating issues and aggravating the traffic situation here, I must say, actually, it's how some drivers are actually using unapproved routes to join the main stretch here. So you find about 2, 3, 4, 5 trotros sometimes using some unapproved routes to get into the main stretch. If you get closer also to the roundabout, you find some trotros packed very close to the shoulders of the road. Now, let's get closer. Let me get closer and speak to some drivers who've been in traffic here. Let's get closer to them. Sir, how long have you been in traffic?
About 25 minutes.
25 minutes?
Yes, please.
And that's supposed to be like a stretch that should take you like how many
Very
minutes?
stressful, very, very stressful. Very, very stressful. So we are pleading with the government. They should speed up a little bit for us.
What's your workplace?
To Community 25.
Okay, do you do this?
To Community 12.
Do you do this every day?
Every blessed day.
Every blessed day. Tell me, how stressful is it, using this stretch?
It's just like you are saying, it isn't easy at all. You have to go through this, and at times when you leave the house around 7:30, if you are not very careful, you get to your destination around 9 or something, and if you're going to work.
And I can see your daughter sitting in the back seat of the car. She's not too excited about it.
Yes, I'm not the least excited, but what can I do?
Okay.
There is nothing more.
You just heard that gentleman. He's taking his child to school, and they have to endure the traffic for a very long time. So
the travel is very difficult for us. I've just used about almost 25 to 30 minutes just from the traffic light to run about here. So in fact, they have to do something about it right now.
How is that affecting you?
It's affecting our daily work because I'm supposed to go to Batu and go to Kaswa for 2 trips, but I cannot. Before I close, it's around 9 or 10 o'clock p.m. So they have to know how to do it, especially at the junction that the throttle people. Okay. They have to get a policeman there so that he can control them, so that it can move fast for us. Okay. Bye.
Maxwell Abagba there. Now let's speak to the resident engineer, Mr. Kwabena Bimpong. Let's find out what exactly is causing the traffic on the Tema motorway. Mr. Bimpong, good afternoon. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon.
Yes, it's been 2 weeks now since the actual works we're discussing started. Have we still not figured out what is causing this traffic?
Well, thank you very much, and thank you to your cherished viewers. We have figured out what the problem was on the first day, and we have resolved those issues. So if you come to the motorway now, you'll find out that the traffic is flowing smoothly. What we observe in the morning peak hours and sometimes in the evening are just the normal traffic, and it was for these problems that we, as consultants, are here to ensure that the project is completed on time and thereby reduce the travel time and the delays that are experienced by commuters and drivers on the road.
Well, Mr. Bimpong, what you're suggesting is that this traffic existed even before the roadworks began?
And that is why the roadworks are going on. If the problems were not there, we wouldn't have been doing the work that we find ourselves in now.
But we've heard commuters talk about how since these roadworks began, it's taking them an hour and a half to travel to do a 10-minute journey. So clearly this was not their experience before the construction began.
Well, I differ, I beg to differ to that, because I myself did some observation on the road even before we started, and I have videos to confirm that there were challenges here, and it is these challenges that caused the Meridian Port services to come in and try and alleviate the problems that were being faced by commuters. I know that temporarily, sometimes in the morning, we have these challenges, but then they are short-lived. So it's not something that is throughout. Even as I speak to you now, the road is free.
Well, yes, I mean, that would be expected. It's not rush hour at the moment, but we're hearing these stories which you're saying that used to be the prevailing condition anyway.
Yeah.
Now, when we first spoke about this, you talked about some plans to actually smooth out some of the alternative routes and make them more motorable so that traffic and the pressure will be eased by people being able to use some of these alternative routes. Have the contractors done this?
Okay, that is true. What we did was that we identified 4 main alternative routes. We went on with the contractor, and we realized that it required, some heavy construction. So what we asked the contractor to do was to do some level of grading on sections which were pretty bad. But unfortunately for us, for instance, the road from the house to the Tebastille Road, immediately we did it, following day it rained. And as I mentioned to you, these are roads which are earth, surface. That means it doesn't have any pavement. And once you just go in and grade, then you probably would end up worsening the road. Now, there's a route also from Plao that goes to join the Akosombo Road. We sent them to go and also do some limited grading, because you remember that these are public roads, and while we want to free traffic on the road, it goes beyond just grading. These are roads which require some heavy work. Then also from the road that is through Tanik, for those coming from Accra. And yesterday I heard, they talking about it, on your program, about the road which are we call unapproved, routes. We went in, asked the contractor also to do some, limited, grading. So these are roads that we have attempted to work on, but clearly we cannot take the full responsibility of constructing those roads to the level that make them, I don't want to use more travel, but to make them, more comfortable than they are at the moment. Yeah.
Right. So you tell us that you have actually put in place measures to resolve the situation, but from what?
It's very limited. It's very limited. It's very limited. It's not to that high standard that one would require a road within a city to be.
Well, I'm just curious, because the measures that we discussed the last time we spoke, the measures you said you would put in place, would be to level out these alternative routes. You're explaining to us now that that can't quite be done. So what measures have you put in place?
Oh, okay. Okay, that's very good. Thank you very much. We have looked at it with a three-pronged approach. And this is something that is known. We have the engineering, education, and the enforcement. Now, let me start with the engineering. There are two ways of looking at it. What we have tried to do first is ensure that we work, as quickly as possible, so that, the current diversional routes that we have put in place will be a thing of the past. So we complete the Harbour Road and the Akosombo roads, so that we can put the pavement and then expand the roads for these commuters to use. Secondly, and I think when I spoke to you, I did mention to you that we had issues with the traffic control, as the drivers sometimes did not behave properly. So we put in barriers, that is what we call New Jersey barriers, on the Akosombo Road to ensure that there's a single file that comes into the run, and that has greatly improved traffic, on the approach to the runabout from the Akosombo end. Then the third one that we are doing is to put in the police. Of course, the police have come in to help us. The regional command provided us with 20 men, and they are helping to control the traffic at the runabout and at the junctions which we have provided. That is where we have provided traffic lights, on the hospital road link and also on the Harbour Road. Right.
Now, you're working towards a completion date of August. Is that still realistic?
It is. It is. And this morning, for instance, we've had, a meeting with the contractor. And we are outlining and telling him that we have to complete this project on time. But there's no way we can extend it by any more days. And if the contractor is unable to complete by the time, he's going to be punished for that.
Now, let me tell you what we observed today. We realized that part of the reason why so much traffic is converging at this point is because some drivers are using unapproved routes to join the main stretch. Other drivers are just parking on the shoulders of the road. Now, let me ask you this. Are the police doing enough to assist in managing this situation, or could they do more?
Well, they are assisting, but then, like you rightly said, they also have a challenge. Because, for instance, the trotro drivers are parking on the shoulders of the route and thereby disrupting traffic. But we've spoken to them about it, but they seem not to have been able to deal with the situation. We brought in the the transport unions. We've also spoken to them, and we're working with them. But then there are some recalcitrant drivers who are not heeding the call of both their leaders and the police. Because you see, what happens is that they come in very early. So by the time the police get here, probably by 6, 7, the vehicles will already be parked on the shoulders of the road. And that is also a challenge. And as I mentioned to you, I don't know, probably last week, I did say that we are trying to dualize a section of the Akosombo road. And that will prevent all those who use the unapproved routes to come left turns. Now, once we put in the left, we put in the median, and once you get to the Akosombo road, and you'll be forced to make a right turn. And the right turn will be in the direction of traffic, and that should not cause any problem.
Mr. Bimpong, resident engineer at the Tamamo Motorway Roundabout Extension Project, thank you so much for your time with us. Let's do something else. Managers of the Buipe port fear that if nothing is done within the next 2 months to dredge the Buipe River, the vessel that transports cement and fuel to many towns and cities may not be able to sail to the area. Now, the water levels on the lake have dropped considerably, exposing sandbanks that are hampering free sail. Currently, Buipe Queen, the only vessel at the port, has difficulty sailing from the Debre port to the Buipe port because of the sandbanks. Martina Bugri has more in the following report.
Speaking to Joy News, captain of the ship, Saini Abdullahi, said they are constrained to navigate through the waters to Buipe.
The draft of the ship as the available water, depth of water, it's a big challenge. You are constrained to navigate through a very critical area where by the list of drift, you are grounded. So in this period, getting to Buipe is very difficult. Right from Debre shoals here, just close to us, to Buipe port. There are sandbanks all the way to get to Buipe, and on arrival at Buipe too, there's so much silt in the port that is very difficult for the barges with the cargo to get close to the jetty where they will be discharged.
He said the sailing period has increased because of the maneuvers they have to do.
Well, you know, a distance of about 412 kilometers. But now the engines are weak, and we are using about 72 hours to make that journey. And it is worsening now because from Debre to Buipe, you need to slow down, you need to do a lot of maneuvers to get to Buipe that increase the sailing period to, let's say, about 80 and above.
Mr. Abdullahi said in the long term, government should consider a second port, whilst in the interim, government should think of dredging the area continuously to allow free flow of water.
We are of the view that the alternative to resolve this issue is to have a second port that is closer to the Black and the White Volta confluence, which is about 30 kilometers from here, roughly 14.5 nautical miles. And there, the depth of water there is very sustainable, of which at the lowest level the dam can operate. The place has been dredged before. The dredging did not go very deep for us to allow us to operate in this level. And as you can see, all the banks are not protected. So year in, year out, when there is a flood, there's heavy erosion washing into the riverbed. That is making it, getting it silted and shallow. So any dredging should be continuous dredging, not a one-term dredge.
The port manager, Benjamin Kwabena Wilson, said if the Bupe port would strive as a port to serve landlocked countries in the sub-Saharan Africa, then government must pay attention to the rehabilitation of the port.
We'll even fetch the government foreign exchange, because the idea is to push fuel from Bupe to the landlocked countries like Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, and what have you. So in the first place, we are going to earn foreign exchange. Apart from that, like I told you, we'll be saving lives on the road. Environmentally, we are more friendly than the vehicles. And then it's cheaper when we use the vessel, because we'll be using just few liters to push this greater volume of diesel from Akosombo to Bupe.
It is the hope of managers of the Bupe port that government would come in soon to take care of the situation, to enable them have an all-year-round operation. For Joy News, Martina Bugri reporting from Debris in the northern region.
Thank you, Martina. Now, caterers of the school feeding program say that an apology by the gender minister for delays in payment for their arrears is not enough to appease them. The caterers have been picketing at the gender ministry to demand payment of their arrears, which they claim have not been paid for about a year now. We'll soon hear from the caterers, but first, our very own Hannah Odami joins me in the studio with the apology statement from the gender minister, Otiko Afisa Jaba. Hannah, you've got the details, haven't you? Take us through them.
Exactly, Kojo. The gender ministry supersedes, it oversees 7 departments, and it has a budget of 250 million Ghana cedis. But then, the school feeding program alone takes a chunk of 200 million Ghana cedis. So the other 7 departments will have to deal with, or will have to just do with the 55 million that is left. That's how come we always hear of delays in payments, not just for this administration, but over the years. Otiko has said that the gender minister, she is apologizing to the caterers, as we have already heard, or have been picketing at the gender ministry. She said that their contracts will expire in July this year. That's about 2 months from now. And she assures them that their payments, their arrears will be paid. But she reminded them that they can pre-finance catering for the students, and then it will be paid. She went ahead to apologize for the delays in the payment. And she also hinted that arrears of 114 million from the previous NDC administration, which was for 75 cooking days, were not paid. And so just a reminder that it's not really coming from the MPP government, it's from the NDC, but they will try. She went further to state that much as there's constraints on the budget of the ministry, the finance ministry has been asked to quickly process the release of the monies so that they will be paid. The arrears for 2016 will be paid, and that for 2017, which spans from January till now, will be paid. That's the apology coming from the gender minister. She hasn't said exactly when the payments, but she said you'll be paid before July.
It's probably in times like this that Lord Kenya would say, Okafu Didi. All right, now on the phone lines with me is the PRO of the School Feeding Caterers Association of Ghana, Ya Dodua Apiakrang. Madam Apiakrang, you say that the apology is not enough. So what more do you want? I'm told that we may not yet be connected to Madam Kurang. We will do that as soon as possible. But what is of interest here is that this apology has essentially been rejected. Exactly. So at this point, what are the options available to the ministry? What is plan B?
Well, she hasn't stated it here, but she said that as a result, they implore all partners and stakeholders, because it suggests that it's not only the finance ministry that has to pay these monies. You know, the caterers go for the monies from various vendors. They go for, say, the rice from the farmers, the maize. So they want all the stakeholders to also ensure that at least whoever is expected to partake in the payment of the arrears does his or her bit, so that the pressure is not only on the finance ministry to release the monies. I
believe we have Madam Yadodua Appiah-Kurang joining us now on the line. Madam Appiah-Kurang, this apology has now been rejected by you and your association. So what do you actually want?
All we want is our money so that we can go back and cook for the children. We don't have any problem with the minister or the ministry or the current administration. We've been cooking since 2016 June, July, that we haven't paid today. So what we are asking for is that the ministry can pay us so that we can go and continue our job smoothly.
Right. Now, since you rejected the apology, have you heard anything more from the ministry?
We haven't heard anything more. And the reason why this apology has not been taken was that when the minister came to office, like when she took office, we went to her, we had a dialogue with her, and she promised paying the old debt by the previous administration. That was in February. So we went back, borrowed money, sold some of the things we have, looked for loans to continue cooking to school vacated in April. School has reopened in May, and we've come back. We've done the first week. We managed to cook. And when you look at what is going on, before we could go to the ministry, there was a release, a statement, which was in the Daily Graphic on the 7th of May by the Deputy Minister of Gender, that the government, which is the president, has released 149 million Ghana cedis to clear the arrears of catering, which was on the 7th of May, 2017, by the Deputy Gender Minister. So if you look at on the 7th of May, so today, like a week now, we haven't had anything, we haven't received any call, our money has not been paid us. So this is what is going on. And yesterday, when we went there, we couldn't meet the minister, but we met the chief director, the school feeding national coordinator, the school feeding national PRO, the school feeding financial director who pays us. And he promised to pay us by end of the month, or we should just wait and see within or by the end of the month we'll receive our money. So looking at what is going on now, it has become different statements within the month by end of the month. So it has become two.
Right. Now, let's not forget that at the heart of this are the children who are supposed to benefit from this service that you're providing. Now, schools are being closed down in the north because of this situation between you and the ministry. Have you considered that? And how much of this is factoring in your decision making?
The problem is that we've looked at all that, and also the children we are feeding, they are our own kids. They are not children. They are our future leaders. But the problem is, my brother, this debt we are talking about is from 2016 June, July. So when you look at the period, we have exhausted ourselves. We are looking at all that. We are also considering if we could get money. But now our debtors, creditors, everybody is fed up with us. And one problem we are facing is that our money don't even come through the bank for us to go to them for loans. They pay us through the MTN mobile money. But MTN is not a financial institution that you can go and get money from. So our situation has become so dicey and critical that you don't even know who to turn to. The people in the market are refused to give us stuff. Nobody is ready to credit us, and no bank or any institution is ready. When you go to any financial institution and you mention to them that, oh, I'm coming to borrow on behalf of school feeding, they're like, oh, because they themselves, they're paying with that, and they don't know when our money is coming.
So what you're saying is that pre-financing is not an option for you?
Yeah, we've done enough. With pre-finance, if you look at what I'm talking about, like we pre-finance for 3 terms already. And when we this can make it 4 terms. So it becomes very difficult. And we are looking at 106, almost 150 days that we pre-finance. So now we're looking at how do we even cook? It's been a problem. Today, the leadership, we had a meeting, we talked about it, we had deliberations, like the caterers leadership. We've all tried to see if we can even help ourselves, but nobody is prepared to help. We don't know what to do now. We've exhausted ourselves. Our strength has run out now. We don't know what.
So are you going to wait until July? You've been promised by the minister that you will get your money before the end of the term. Surely if you've waited 3 terms, you can wait till the end of this term, can you not?
That is where the conflict is. When we are being told yesterday that maybe within the month or before the end of the month, and we will get our money, that was yesterday when we were there with the press, and they came down to speak with us. And now the minister comes back to say that your contracts are going to end, so I'm going to pay you before your contract. Then now we don't know who to trust. We don't know who to trust. We were told to go back, manage and see if we can cook take this period to the end of the month, which we are still not even happy to take. Because the problem is, my brother, who can credit you something for almost a month, a year? A year. There's not maybe a car or something, food stuff. And when you look at food, every day you have to buy. Food is something every day you spend money on. You buy gas, you buy water, you transport the food, you pay the people you work with, you buy soap to clean the boats and all that. So when you look at the school feeding situation, it's not like a situation or a contract that maybe you can get things and you pay later. It's a daily work money issue. If you are not buying gas, you are buying water. If you are not buying water, you are buying soap. You see, so our problem now is that we are bleeding. We can't wait. And besides, we are feeding the children of Ghana. We can't even look for children and wait till July or even the end of the month that the minister is talking about. All what we are saying is that we are not fighting with them. We are happy with the celebration they had with us so far. But the problem is that we need the money so that we can go back to our work smoothly. You know, we are mothers. We think about the children. Today and yesterday, our children didn't go to school because there is no food in the school. The social look at how places are and
right. Right, it would appear that we've lost connection with Yadudwa Apiakrang, but we heard what she had to say there. She's the PRO of the School Feeding Caterers Association of Ghana. Hannah, well, thanks for that.
Yeah, Kojo, I just pity the children who are the center of all of this. At the end of the day, it's 2 adults, and someone has to pay, someone is not paying, and the children are suffering. They'll lose school time. They can make up.
True. Right, now, when we come back, I'll be introducing you to something new, the Joy News Agenda. This is how we seek to bring you follow-up results of stories covered by our reporters, starting with the destruction of 90,000 packets of fake abortion drugs imported by family planning giant DKT International. Stay with us.
Misoprostol and Mifep.